Okay, guys, am I audible? Can anyone confirm? So we have Vivek, we have Ravi. Guys, can you confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, yes, Manny, I can hear you.
Okay, thanks, Ravi. So let me share my screen and we'll start the demo session. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So, okay, this is guys a demo session for AZ-104, which is Azure Admin course or the training which we are going to do. And before going into the details of the training and contents, I would like to talk about myself. And if I'll show you my profile, then I have somewhere around 14 years of experience. In fact, more than that. And I have worked with multiple, companies like HCL, IBM, Fujitsu, Ascent in past. And my key skills are Azure Cloud, DevOps, in the Azure DevOps, Terraform, Windows administration, Azure Cloud migration, and AKS and Docker as well. So these are my key skills. And then I have conducted multiple, trainings, online and offline both. I have trained multiple professionals who are already either working in a cloud administration or cloud technologies, or there I have also conducted trainings for people who have not started their cloud journey yet. Okay, and then these are my certification details, which I have cleared or I have earned, which is AZ-104, 305, 700, 500, and 400. So these are pretty much related to the cloud administration or the cloud, technology, Azure cloud especially. Okay, related this. So these are the certifications which I have cleared or I have earned with my experience and knowledge. So this is about my profile, and now we are going to share the content which we are going to learn throughout this training. So I'm just sharing the document or the training content. Okay, so this is our training content, which is AZ-104, which we are going to learn in this training session. First, we are talking about the module one, where we are going to learn about what is Azure Cloud and what is the difference between Azure Cloud and other cloud service providers like Amazon, Google, Oracle. Okay, we have famous other cloud service providers as well. Then we are going to learn how to log in or how to sign up in Azure Portal, and basically how to use the free tier option, because throughout the learning we need to use free tier option. uh, and why we need to use that, because in Azure cloud, or in fact in any cloud technology, nothing is free. Whatever are you going to use, whatever are you going to consume, you have to pay for that. So cloud is basically the model of pay as you go, where you have to pay whatever you are using. So we have to be very much attentive about this concept as well, while creating the resources. Like, we should not keep any create any resources in Azure cloud and then forget about it. So we have to be very much careful about it. In the module 2, we will discuss about basically it's a start of the Azure cloud journey. And here we are going to talk about Azure resources, and then how the Microsoft has designed their data center. Although in cloud we do not have access to any hardware, because cloud is all about accessing the resources, which is where the hardware is not going to be involved. So which means, as an administrator or as a user or as a client or customer, none of us we are going to have a look onto the hardware part of the cloud. And that is the reason we have the word cloud in place, and that is why this technology is different from other technologies. Here, no matter what you do, you do not have access on any hardware part, no matter how small or big it is. We'll also learn about how to create a virtual machines and in a Windows operating system and a Linux operating system. In Azure Cloud, as of now, we only have two kind of operating systems being supported. One is Windows and one is Linux. So in both the windows, we are going to see the Azure Virtual Machine, and the virtual machine is again a resource or a cloud resource, basically, where actually we are going to run our application. So we are going to learn how to create those virtual machines. Then we are also going to learn about the high availability, like how I can provide high availability. High availability means if my one virtual machine goes down, then how I'm going to ensure like my application or my virtual machine should be keep running. So that's about the high availability. So we are going to learn the concept of high availability by using availability zone and availability set. Now coming back to the last section where we are going to hosting a website into the Azure virtual machine using IaaS. So we are going to see like how we can host a application. A website is basically a web application. Whenever we say, okay, this is a website, it's basically not a website, it's a web application. So we are going to learn how to host a website or a web application on a Windows machine. Also, remember, we are not the developers, so we are not going to write the code for creation of the website. We are going to download the free websites which are available on the Google, and we are going to use them. So we are not the developers. We are not writing the code for our websites. Remember this. Okay, coming back to the module 3. Module 3, we will discuss about the networking concept, where we are going to learn how one machine is interacting with another machine and how overall cloud infrastructure is interacting with each other in Azure Cloud. So that is what we are going to discuss in module 3. We have virtual network concept, we have subnet concept, then we have hub and spoke topology also. So this thing or this module is all about how we are going to do the networking, because whenever you are going to work as a cloud administrator, it is important for you to understand how one resource is connecting with another resource, or how one virtual machine or one device is communicating with the another device. So networking concept is much more important, especially when the issue comes, because it is really important from the point of view where you are going to do the troubleshooting. So as a cloud administrator, you are supposed to do the troubleshooting, and that is why we need to know about it. Then in the module 4, we'll talk about the point to site connection and site to site connection. Basically, here we are going to talk about module 3 is all about the networking within Azure Cloud, which means all resources and all the devices are in within Azure Cloud only, and then we are going to see how we can communicate with each other. But module 4 is talk about how you have your Azure resources are going to communicate with outside the Azure cloud. So for example, in your organization, wherever you are working, or wherever you are going to work on, okay, so they have a cloud infrastructure as well as they also have a on-premise infrastructure. So here are going to see how Azure infrastructure or the entire Azure setup or devices are going to communicate with the on-premises infrastructure. Since we do not have the option of the on-premises, so we will take like Google Cloud, or maybe we can discuss AWS as well, how these two different communications are going to happen, and that is where we are going to learn the concept of outside networking. Anyways, from the Azure cloud. So that is where we are going to learn about all these things. Okay, another point of the another module which we are going to talk about, the security. As a cloud administrator, you are also expected to know about the security, like what are the security you have, what are the options you have. So for example, like if somebody is trying to reach out to your network, then how secure your connection is, because you are going to create multiple applications, and as a cloud administrator you are supposed, or you are expected to secure your application. So what are the options we have to do to implement the security? Like somebody should not be able to access the application which is running in Azure without proper authentication or without proper validation. So these things we are going to talk about in module 5, where the security is going to our focus, and we are going to learn how we can secure our workloads or how we are secure our Azure environment. Coming back to the module 6, in this module, we'll talk about the load balancing. So load balancing is a very important concept, especially when it comes to the working on an application which has multiple requests. So for example, there is an application in your organization which has many users which is going to be used by many users. So for that application, how are you going to distribute the traffic? It should not be like only one virtual machine or only one backend, should serve the, because it is going to be hang. So it is just like, you are accessing your multiple websites like amazon.com, facebook.com, instagram.com. So multiple users are keep using those kind of web application or websites. So there must be a mechanism like to distribute the traffic equally, so that nobody gets latency while accessing it. Also, and the backend, my machine should be able or good enough to serve those requests. So load balancing is a very important concept which we will learn in module 6. Then in the module 7, we are going to talk about the storage option. And storage is basically, the point from where actually the cloud concept, all this entire the concept of the cloud has started with this storage itself. So that basically the concept of the storage, like what are the options we have to store our data in the cloud, or especially the Azure cloud, we are going to talk about that. When we are storing our data into the cloud, we also need to learn how we are going to retrieve or access the data securely. So these are the 2-3 things we are going to learn about it. How we are going to create, store the data, how we are going to send the data, and then how we are going to access the data, and all these things should be happen securely. Because for any organization, if one thing on which they are not going to do any kind of compromise, and that is called data. So data is something where they are not going to take any chance. Nobody will take any chance. So we have to learn about that concept. Then in the module 8, we are going to talk about the backup option. So backup option, why we need to learn the backup option? Because no matter what you are running on your organization, there is always a slight chance like something goes down. And if something goes down, if something is not working, and if something got deleted, if something got deleted or disturbed by some other elements as well, in that case backup is what we are going to save our organization. So you must have the word ransomware. Nowadays there is a concept of ransomware, where people are simply hacking your organization's infrastructure, and then they are going to ask you to pay some sort of money. So that is called ransomware. So ransomware is basically very serious situation, and to deal with the ransomware, your backup is going to help you. So if you have a good backup, healthy backup, and the latest backup, then you have the ability that you can restore your infrastructure on a different node without affecting the current one. So this will save your data, this will save your infrastructure. Sorry, this will save your data, this will save your infrastructure, and that is why we need to learn about the backup operation. Now coming back to the module 9, in this module 9 we are going to talk about the Azure App Service. So Azure App Service is a category of the solution where we are talking about the platform as a service. So platform as a service is a kind of service which is given by the offered by the cloud providers, and we are going to learn what is platform as a service in this chapter, which is called module 9. Here in the platform as a service, we are going to learn about Azure App Service. We are going to learn about how to implement the different microservices as well. We are also going to learn, not in detail, but on a very a high level. We are going to learn about the AKS. We are also going to learn about the Docker as well. So these are the pretty basic things we are going to learn about. Then in the module 10, we are going to talk about the monitor. All these things are set up now, so we need to learn how we are going to do the monitoring. And why monitoring is important, because as a cloud administrator you are not expected to keep everything like you are not going to look and check everything every day. So you must need a mechanism if something goes wrong. So for example, if there is a virtual machine and if the CPU usage of that virtual machine goes beyond 95%, then there should be a mechanism. Somebody should be keep checking all the CPU for all the virtual machines. And if any virtual machine's CPU is going beyond 95%, then somebody should alert you. So how we are going to do that alert, how we are going to do, set up the monitoring so that people can give you the options like to restore sorry, to monitor your infrastructure. That is what we are going to talk about in module 10. Now coming to the module 11, here we are going to talk about the Entra ID. And previously it was called Azure AD. Now it has been renamed to Entra ID. So Entra ID is my Azure AD. So we are going to talk about the Azure AD. We are going to talk about this, role-based access control. So this session is all about how we are going to do the authorization and authentication. How a genuine user, not everyone can log into my infrastructure. How we can protect, non-genuine users to be accessible from this module. Then in last module, we are going to talk about the governance part, like what is the Azure policy and what is initiative. So Azure policy is about, here basically you have to execute the policy, but the policy is something which is being made by your organization. So let's say your organization has decided like, okay, I don't want any virtual machine or any resources to be created into particular region, right? Or I don't want anybody to create or delete any virtual machine. So these kind of organization level policy, okay, which is going to be implemented in this module. We are going to learn how to implement the policy and what are the policies we have available in Azure to implement at the organization level. So this is, and after this, we are going to complete our training in AZ-104. So that's about the course content which we are going to follow. So Vivek or Ravi, do we have any point to discuss at this stage?
No, no, Manish. I'm good.
Okay, so are we good on this? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Vivek, and thanks, Ravi, for confirming. Okay, so before since we have a better idea what we are going to learn throughout the training, so I'll just give you one basic understanding about the cloud infrastructure. Okay, so I'm just going to open my whiteboard and then we'll discuss about the architectural differences. Okay, so to start our cloud journey, especially the Azure cloud journey, it is important to understand the past, how things were being managed in the past. Let's go and understand that. So, when the cloud was not there, when there was no concept of the cloud, and when there was no concept of the today's data center, so there was a IT started with the physical data center. There was a physical data center. Okay, and that data center, physical data center with physical machines, devices. Here we are, physical data center with physical machines. Okay, in this physical data center with physical machines, what we used to have, we have a office location, a physical location. First part is that we have a physical location. Inside office, outside office, it depends. Okay. Then we have our power, we have our cooling system, and then we have our internal network system. So for physical data centers, we used to have all these things, and somehow the IT company, not the IT company, the company itself was responsible to manage all these things. So let's say if anything goes wrong with the physical location, and physical location means I'm talking about the building. If anything goes wrong with the building, okay, then how are we going to protect this? This is a responsibility of an organization, the company, which is actually running those physical locations. Then if something goes wrong with the power, it is also the company's responsibility to maintain that power. Something goes wrong with the cooling or the internal networking, everything is become a responsibility or was a responsibility of an organization. So this basically a added responsibility, because let's say if I have a shoemaking company, I am a shoemaking company. Okay, so as a shoemaking company, my focus should be on making shoes. But this physical data center, I also need to maintain IT also, and the physical data center is an additional responsibility for me. Okay, now look at inside the data center. We used to have a physical machines. We used to have a physical servers. We have multiple for servers. We have network devices. We used to have all this. Everything is a physical device. Everything is a inside this physical data center. Everything we have a physical devices. So, for example, that's our physical server. And physical server means the hardware is something which you have to maintain. Hardware is something which IT has to maintain of that company. Right. Then we have storage solutions, physical. Okay, we have storage, which means where we can keep our data. Okay, we have our this network devices. So these are the different options of our, traditional data center. But with this approach, we have many challenges to face or to deal with. The first challenge is to maintain the physical location, to maintain the power, to maintain the cooling, and maintain the networking. Then all these physical servers are also for a good challenge for us. So imagine a situation, an organization which has a physical data center with physical machines gets a new contract, and with that new contract organization is supposed to have a two or five new physical servers. So organization has to first place an order for the five new physical servers. Then order will take some time, somewhere around 5 to 10 days to come to their office premises. Then once the server will reach to the office premises, then server needs to be set up because it's a physical server. Okay, so you need to set up your physical server. Then you need to install the operating system, and then you need to go through all the application execution. All these things you need to do, so it is going to make a delay. That's the first thing. Second thing is that even if it is going to make a delay, let's say the organization gets the contract, and after a month or maybe 2 months, the organization lose that contract, or the contract is no more with the organization. So in that case, all those five different virtual machines which has been already bought, it will be there in the physical data center without any utilization, which means we bought something, we used for some time, and after some time if the use is no more there, then that physical devices are not usable anymore, or it will be kept lying there without any use. And that is where we need to face the challenges as well. So these are the challenges with the data center concept with physical location with physical machines. Then IT has revolved, and there is a significant change has come into the IT. And the significant change, what was the significant change? The significant change was, in this change, what happened? Physical data center with physical machines on virtualization. That's the next change or next significant improvement has come in terms of data center. Okay, all these factors, the physical location, the power and the cooling and the networking, that will remain the same because it is still a physical data center for the company. So what is the benefit we get? So the benefit we get here is that instead of having multiple, instead of having multiple smaller physical machines or physical server, what we get here is, so instead of multiple physical servers, because in this, if I have 10 applications to run, 10 projects to run, then I need 10 physical servers. Here in this, the concept has changed and the new concept has come, and that concept is called virtualization. So what virtualization came? There is a big box. Okay, and that big box was given by, you must have heard about this VMware or Hyper-V or Cisco Flex. These are famous, or something Dell as well. So these are the famous companies which actually have created a big boxes. And what happened in these big boxes, they simply said, like, we are going to combine the computing power, which means, let's say if this physical server, let me make it like this here. So let's say if this physical server has 4 CPU and has 8 GB of RAM and has storage of 100 GB. For example, that is because this is my one physical server, so it is going to be, this configuration is going to be like this. For this server, let's say I have 8 CPU and I have 12 GB of RAM, and maybe I have 120 GB of disk. Okay, so for the physical servers, remember, do not go with the network devices, only for the servers. What virtualization is going to help here is, so if I combine, as of now, these are two different physical devices. They are taking their own space, plus we have to manage all of them separately. So here, what this says, the virtualization technology comes and they said, I am going to have a combined capacity, which means I am going to have a 500 CPU. RAM is like 1000 GB or maybe 100 GB, and storage is like 1000 GB. And here, let's make it 100 GB. Okay. So what they did, they combined the computing capacity in virtualization. And they said, instead of buying your physical servers one by one, you buy this powerful box. You buy this powerful box. And they're calling this powerful box as a virtualization. And they said, on this powerful box, what you need to do, I'm going to give you a layer. And that layer is called hypervisor. That layer is called hypervisor. And on the top of this hypervisor, let's say you need a server. Okay, you can ask the server to be created by using all these resources. So I can call it like server 1, server 2, and that's my server 1. So instead of building physical servers or purchasing physical servers, I am going to create a virtual servers because these are based out of this one combined box. And this, so for example, if here in this server, if I need CPU, for example, 2, RAM, for example, 4 GB, and storage, I need, for example, 100 GB. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a server out of this and we are going to call it as a virtual server, and I'm going to call this virtual server, or I'm going to get the computing capacity from the combined box instead of maintaining several independent servers. Okay, we are maintaining a virtual server, so if I have to use it, I will use it, and if tomorrow if the use is over, then I can delete it also. So the challenge which we had here, like if company or organization gets a new project, and after getting the new project after a month or 2 months, if that project is no more with the company, then our physical servers remain unutilized, and there is no use of these physical servers. So that challenge can be fixed by the concept of virtualization, because here I have bought a big box which is given by the VMware, Hyper-V, or Cisco Flex, whatever the company is, right? And based on this big box, I am creating my virtual servers. And the virtual, since these are virtual servers, so I do not have a space. So first thing, I get rid of the space here. I do not need to, allocate a physical space for maintaining multiple physical servers. Plus, I have the option to immediately create the server. So if the project is coming to the organization, I need to deploy 5 servers. I can go ahead simply and quickly deploy my 5 servers. So these are the challenges. These were the challenges which have been fixed with this concept. However, the challenge of the physical location, which is maintaining the building premises, challenge of the power, cooling, and networking will remain the same. In this option, the one challenge I got fixed, which is the virtualization. From physical server, I switched to the virtual servers, and I saved the space inside my data center. I get the option like wherever I want, I can create I can create my virtual machine based on the requirement, and I can delete the virtual machine once the requirement is over. I got all these different power here, but the challenge with this will remain the same, because still all these boxes, the data center, the physical location, networking, cooling, power, all things are maintained and managed by company itself. Then there is a new concept come in the IT, and that concept is called cloud concept. To get rid of all these challenges, we got a new concept which is called cloud. So let's understand how the cloud infrastructure looks like. So the cloud infrastructure says, okay, I am going to, here also we used to have a multiple, we used to have a physical location, and the here also the same thing. Here also, but with greater capacity. Okay, so here I am going to make it like 5,000. Here I am going to make it like 1,000 TB. Here I am going to make it like 6,000 TB. Right. So cloud said I am going to combine the power of all the computing resources in one physical data center, and you guys have to simply, so this is also a physical data center, but physical data center with physical machines maintained by cloud service providers, Microsoft, Amazon, and these are the famous players: Amazon, Oracle, Google. So this is a physical data center with physical machines maintained by cloud service provider. So here we are not managing any physical data center. That's the challenge number one we have is since we do not have to maintain the physical location, so we do not need a office building or any physical location. We are not maintaining the power, we are not maintaining the cooling, and we are also not maintaining the networking. So cloud says all this hardware concept is going to be done by me. So then how I am going to work, how I am going to create my machines, how I am going to get my virtual machines. Okay. So cloud also said physical part is going to be maintained by me. I am going to give you an option of hypervisor. There is also a hypervisor here as well. Okay. And this hypervisor is just the layer between us or the physical data center. And if I need to create a virtual machine, then I'm going to give you one application, and that application it is the portal. So in case of Azure, we have Azure Portal. In case of AWS, we have AWS Admin Console. AWS console. In a similar way, all providers have their own console. So console means basically if I have the console, then means I need to first register myself, and then I'm going to register myself. After that, I can create the same virtual machine. So I can create here virtual machine, and the capacity is going to be used from here. But tomorrow, if I do not need to manage the hardware like this, here I also used to create a virtual machine, but the hardware is also the responsibility of company. Here I only need to create this virtual machine, and the responsibility to maintain this virtual machine is mine, but I do not take care of the hardware part. I simply create whatever I need to create, whatever is the requirement for my organization, and then I simply continue to use that. And whatever the time I'm going to use that. So for example, in Azure, billing is happening for every 1 hour. So let's say I created a virtual machine at 8 p.m. IST or 8 p.m. in the night, right? Then the moment I create a virtual machine, Microsoft is going to charge me for next 1 hour. Even if I go ahead and delete that virtual machine at 8:10 p.m. in just after 10 minutes, even if I'm going to delete that, Microsoft will charge me for at least an hour. So remember this concept. Okay. Second thing, we do not managing anything. The headache of physical location, power, networking, cooling, everything is no more there. We simply creating our virtual machine, and to whatever the duration I am using my virtual machine or I'm keeping my virtual machine running, I have to pay the charges for that. So it is just like renting the services, which means suppose you need to you move into a new house, sorry, you move into a new city, and you need a place to live. Okay, so what you are going to do? You are going to rent a house, rent a room. Okay, so in the rent a room, whatever you are going to use or how long you are going to stay there, you have to pay the charges for that. So that renting concept is also in the cloud also. Instead of having your own physical location, having your own data center, cloud gives you the opportunity or the flexibility. Like you do not need to set up all these things. You can directly come register yourself, and all these things are very quickly over the internet only. You just register yourself and start using whatever the IT services you need. So for the company which are going to be started, so right now you must have heard we have a startup companies. So as a startup company, you do not have a physical location on your hand. So instead of investing money on a physical location and setting up all these things, you can simply register yourself on the cloud and start working on your IT. Even if you have a physical location, okay, and if you still would like to reduce or minimize the dependency on your physical location, because you never know, it's a physical location, it's a physical power, everything. If anything goes wrong, then you have to your business has to bear the losses. So what you are doing or what you're planning, like, okay, I'll go and use the cloud services, So many companies which are, what they are doing nowadays, they are basically having their own physical location, but they are keeping their critical application into the Azure. Why? Because if the data center goes down, or if power or cooling, anything goes wrong with this particular their own data center, their critical applications are already running in the cloud and it will have no impact. So that is how the cloud, comes into the picture, and this is what we are going to learn in our training with Azure Cloud. So till this point, anybody has any question? Ravi,
No, I'm
Vivek,
good.
are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, then this basically, so we are wrapping up the call for today. Okay, because we have discussed about the architectural and this, setup of the cloud and the traditional data centers. Okay, and we have also discussed the course content which we are going to discuss, or which we are going to learn throughout the training. So we'll connect tomorrow, and from tomorrow we'll discuss some more basic concepts about the cloud only, and then we are going to start actually logging into the Azure cloud, and we'll start our lab and we'll preparing everything. So there are few more basic concepts which is important to explain to you guys before we start our lab, or before we start our creation of the resources in Azure cloud itself. So we are going to discuss all those things, tomorrow, and then we can start talking. So anything, if we do not have any point to discuss, then we are good to close the call. Or if you guys have any query or point, then please welcome. You are welcome to discuss. Okay, so no inputs. So I'm taking it as a confirmation. Like as of now, we do not have anything to discuss. So thank you everyone for joining the call. See you tomorrow.